Hello, welcome to Monday's Look North. Tonight, drama on the Tyne and Weir Metro as a huge power surge brings the system to a standstill, trapping passengers underground.
Like a firework display, it seemed like the cables had come down. All the tunnel just lit up and the lights went straight out in the metro.
First tonight, there's been major disruption on the Tyne and Weir Metro after a huge power surge brought the system to a standstill. Passengers were trapped in trains inside tunnels for more than an hour and had to be rescued by firefighters, and all on one of the warmest days of the year. Adrian Pitchers has the story.
Dramatic footage from deep below Newcastle when the lights went out at lunchtime today. Passengers were guided to safety by firefighters down ladders and then walked along the track to the platform.
We just left Monument, we're going towards Central Station, then there was loads of sparks and the train lit up really brightly, so there's fire on the outside. Then all the power just went out, we left in blackness, and then after about 15 minutes they turned on the tunnel light, and then we've been on there for about an hour and a half since. But it was just getting really hot down there and we just didn't know what was going on really.
The train just pulled at Monument. About 20 minutes later, it was like a firework display. It seemed like the cables had come down. All the tunnel just lit up and the lights went straight out in the metro.
Of course, today was one of the hottest days of the year, so to be stuck on a metro train for an hour made it even more of an ordeal for some passengers, and particularly for disabled passengers who actually had to be physically lifted off the train. I've heard of a group of passengers who actually helped a man in his wheelchair travelling between Peelaw and Hebburn. They lifted him and his wheelchair down and manhandled it along the tracks back to the nearest station, which was very selfless action on their part.
7 trains across the system stopped between stations when the power failed. Now, we have a well-practiced plan with the fire service to deal with those situations, to make sure that once it's safe, passengers are helped down onto the track or along the side of the tunnel, and obviously to safety. Now that took some time on a hot afternoon, and we know that.
Although the service has been restored, there will be fewer trains than normal this evening. And the line between South Gosforth, where the electricity substation failed, and Shire Moor will be shut until tomorrow. Adrian Pitchers, BBC Look North, Newcastle.
The police.
Hello, welcome to the programme. In the headlines this lunchtime, a second day of disruption for Metro passengers following yesterday's massive power failure. And thousands of cruise passengers arrive as 5 large ships berth at the Port of Tyne in one day. The Tyne and Weir Metro is still being hit by serious disruption this lunchtime after a massive power failure yesterday. Services between South Gosforth and Shire Moor are not running today, and there's a replacement bus service in operation. Here's our correspondent Mark Denton.
So then, a day after a power outage left some passengers stranded on Metro trains for up to an hour and a half, others having to walk down the tracks to safety, the problems on the Metro are still continuing because some passengers, rather than using trains, are having to use one of these replacement bus services because there are no services at the moment between Shire Moor and South Gosforth. And some of the passengers who are having to use these replacement bus services, they're not happy.
I had to miss me meeting and I had to postpone it, so
it's affecting your life?
Yeah, it is.
Standard of service is essentially, it's horrible. And I've bought a year Metro pass, but I hardly ever get to use it. You get to use it on the number 900 bus. That's not on the actual Metro.
We waited nearly 3/4 of an hour for the bus, and then 3 buses came up, up to 4 lane ends. And then, as you can see, the bus is packed. You know, there's lots of people going with children to the coast with prams, and they couldn't get on.
Now, Nexus say that engineers will complete repairs overnight as a wider section of the network will need to be worked on. In the meantime, for many Metro passengers, they won't be travelling on trains, but on one of these. We'll have more on the situation on the Metro on Look North at 6:30 tonight. Mark Denton, BBC Look North, near South Gosforth Metro Station.
North Yorkshire Police are continuing their investigations into a crash in which